Hello there, welcome to my show. Today I'll be talking about Hard to Be a God, Existenz, Fear and Desire, and The Hobbit, Battle of the Five Armies. Well, let's start with Hard to Be a God. Hard to Be a God was a film made, it was released last year and released on the Blu-ray DVD this year, but it was shot over the 2000s for years, then edited for years. So it was a long time process. It's a black and white film made in Russia. Okay, the premise of this film is that there's a planet that's been found that's not Earth, that has lots of castles, that's very much a medieval setting with human beings there. So scientists from Russia go to this planet and put people in as spies to watch this society as it progresses. So, and basically, the title of Hard to Be a God is about how hard it is to be someone who could help, but is not allowed to by the fact that they're researching the society. So throughout the film, you're actually watching this society collapse. But it's set in the Middle Ages, and the problem is that the society is filled with ignorance. It's anti-science, it's anti-intellectual. There's disease everywhere. Children, people, everyone basically are murderous and behave like animals. Like anyone who's intellectual gets drowned in shit basically. So it's a horrible society, and the leading character has to play along, and so basically he sits off as a king because he's the best fighter, and he starts to manipulate the different politics to keep himself in power. And you see these various people trying to take over for him, and he always defeats them. He ends up having to kill lots of people who were his friends, even though they were trying to kill him at the same time. So it's a very complicated story about a society that's just doesn't function. It's basically about evolution, how thought evolves, how thought can devolve, how people can behave terribly, and how people can just not interfere, and how people will just let things happen, even though they know it's not good for the people involved. So it's a very complicated film. I saw it last week, and I'm still processing in my head actually because it's so complicated. I mean, it's in black and white, and the atmosphere is brilliant. There's mud everywhere. There's flames. There's vomit. Everything's sort of dreamlike because it's black and white, but it's still very classically shot. But what's going on is very much feels it's improvised film, where they spend a long time on little details that build and build and build. And there's details of stuff you might not even see, but it builds and builds a powerful atmosphere. So you're watching this hellhole, basically it's a living hell, for 3 hours, but the film just creates this atmosphere, and it actually shows you why a society cannot evolve, why it's trapped. Instead of saying, "Oh, these people should know better," it's like this is how they don't know better. This is how a lack of education can make people fall to their baser desires and act in ways that are destructive to themselves and other people, and how a whole society can devolve into that. How societies around about them can evolve, and basically cultures become this mess that can't move on. So you see them going to different places, and they're all very similar. There are a few differences, but they're all still basically anti-intellectual, anti-thought. It's all about survival. To the minute survival. It's not. There's no plan. There's no nothing, and basically see this man fall apart and become an animal just like everyone else. And as he knows he can't help anyone, how he knows he can't escape from this place, he has to just survive in it. And it's only at the end when he actually is pulled out to go back to Earth, and it looks intellectual, he just looks haunted by the reality of people, the reality of how far humanity can fall. And it's a beautiful film about the loss in humanity. It's really brilliant, and it's one of those films that sticks in your head once you've seen it. I'm sure I want a great idea of how I truly feel about the film beyond it's great for another couple of months as I process it from brain. But it's definitely worth seeing. If you have the patience, this is a film that's you need to see because it's just beautiful. And see this whole atmosphere of unease and menace about people and how people interact that is just astonishing. It really is astonishing. So I would definitely recommend seeing this film because it's something else. Okay, now we're going to go on to Existenz. Existenz is a David Cronenberg film from the late 90s starring Jennifer Jason Leigh and Jude Law in one of his few good films because he's made a lot of bad films. This is a good one. And basically Cronenberg looks at virtual reality and looks at how we're going to interact with virtual reality and how people interact with reality. The plot is basically Jennifer Jason Leigh is a designer of games. These games are virtual reality games. You plug in and your reality changes and you have to start to you have to work through this world trying to work out what reality is, what is not reality, and you have to try and basically go through scenarios and survive the scenarios. So the technology is biological based, so it plugs in and actually uses your own human body energy to keep you involved in the virtual reality. So Jennifer Jason Leigh is the artist who creates this, and she's on the run because realists basically think this is an abomination against reality and she should be killed because she's destroying people's basic knowledge of what humanity is, what people are, and she's creating this abomination in their view that has to be stopped. So basically you've got like a jihad against gamers. And as you follow through this world, which you quickly realise might be a virtual reality world in the first place, you watch the paranoia set in as they try and go from place to place. They don't know who they can trust, who they can't trust. And they start to go into other worlds because they get what is apparently her game. So you go into her game, but you think the reality you were before might be a virtual reality as well. And it twists and turns through what's reality and what's not. And you never quite know what reality is true and what reality is false. So in some ways it's proving the point of the realists. But on the other hand, it's also showing the great part of this whole technology is like people are inventing, people are actually creating new lives themselves, new worlds themselves, and are experiencing things they couldn't experience in real life. So it shows both sides of the argument, but it doesn't do it in a way that's polemic. It's just like you watch them through scenes working stuff out, and you watch them through scenes of working out things that seem normal. There's other times I watch the working stuff out that seems surreal and pre-programmed, very gamey, and it's all actually about is how do people exist in reality, because anyone can be offended by anything, whether it's virtual reality, religion, anything that changes your view of what reality is, and you can be offended by it and say this cannot be real, this cannot exist, it has to be stopped. So it's all about how people's minds can get twisted and how the virtual reality is just another reality that people can use pro and con, and it's not ultimately about virtual reality, it's about what people think and how people react and how reality can get twisted for anybody. So it's a wonderful film. It's also funny. It's probably one of Cronenberg's funniest films because Jennifer Jason Leigh is really funny in the film. And Jude Law is a good straight man in this film because he's the guy who doesn't like any technology, who's very scared of it. There's lots of good jokes about that, and there's jokes about people with dodgy accents, dialogue scenes that are a bit stiff intentionally, and there's jokes about that and how there's always changing around like, this is reality, this is fiction, or is it? Because everything is very twisted and weird, and it changes your view all the time of what's actually going on. It doesn't tell you definitely this is what's going on. So it's a wonderful film. It's way ahead of its time, which now, it looks a lot better now than it did at the time because the technology it's talking about is now getting close to reality, but also it looks at things that weren't as apparent when it was released, which was what's actually reality to a person, which I don't think was. There's lots of stuff like Fight Club at the time when it was released, or The Matrix, which were much more like extreme versions of it because they were about fighting against a man or something. And this is much more like about human reality and your own actual responsibility to make it up for yourself and don't blame others. So it's a much more complicated film. I think it was just too complicated for the time. So the film suffered a little bit when it was released, but now it looks amazing because there aren't any dodgy effects to screw it up. There aren't any weirdness that's not intentional. It's actually just about how people react to reality and how people can get freaked out. And it's a comedy and it's a sci-fi movie, and it's because the situation is funny and they actually bring that up. It's a funny thing watching people stumble through what's real and what's not. So that's Existenz. Okay, next is Fear and Desire. Fear and Desire is Stanley Kubrick's first film, and it's the one film he does not like that he made. He publicly tried to stop it getting shown years later because he viewed it as a student film or an early film that wasn't fully his and it wasn't fully developed, and it didn't do him any favours. The funny thing is, when you see the film, that's true, but also you see lots of Kubrick in there that was going to develop into better stuff later. So basically it's about these 4 soldiers trapped in a war, and they're behind enemy lines and they have to try and get back over to their own side. But as they're going through this forest, they find a cabin which actually has a target they can kill, and it's should they kill this target or should they not. And I get inside that building, you realise the same actors who play the soldiers in the forest are playing the people they're trying to kill. So it's all about people fighting themselves and reality and madness and all that stuff. But unlike Existenz, it's too prescribed, it's too much like we're trying to make an art house film. And that's probably why Kubrick didn't like it much, because it's too obvious. It's like, yep, we're making an art house film and aren't we brilliant? It comes across as like half-baked in lots of ways because it's trying to do something that in literature might have worked, but in film it's too much, just feels too basic, and they never found a way to make the reality feel compulsive and the situation feel nightmarish in the proper way. So it's a bit lacklustre in that way, but it's also very interesting with lots of scenes because Kubrick's already a very good director. So there's scenes where they find a woman captive, and one of the soldiers go mad, and you just watch him. You can see like what's going to come later with Kubrick, where like Jen Nicholson or Malcolm McDowell or any of the characters that he had go mad, because it's already there in this film, and it's really well done, and it's the best scene in the film because you really feel the madness. And you can tell he's really interested in this scene. There's other scenes of people talking about what they were before the war, and how the leader is weak and not very interesting, and how the leadership's got a mentality that's not helping soldiers. And stuff like that is overdone, and it never quite clicks into the kind of nightmare scenario they're trying to do. So there's bits that really work, and there's bits that don't, but still really worth watching because it's so well directed. Even for an early film, you can tell like he planned all the shots out very carefully, and there's lots of details that are brilliant. It's just that he doesn't have the cast to pull off what he wants to do, and the script tells you stuff and it's telling you too much, and more visuals and less dialogue would have helped this film a lot, because at least it would have been arty then, properly arty, rather than something that's in the middle. But then because it's a Kubrick film, even though it's an early one, it's still better than most directors' films. So it's still like, it makes most modern directors look bad in comparison, because it's still so good compared to lots of crap you see now. So it's definitely worth seeing because it's very well made, but it is like Kubrick's weakest film by a long way, because the script could have done with more work, but the direction's amazing. So yeah, Fear and Desire, you even see there's a jump up between this and Killer's Kiss, which is also a very flawed film, but Killer's Kiss is a lot better because he's starting to go towards working out how to use narrative, which would peak in his early films of The Killing, where he actually got a good writer to write it, and then he would start working with good writers all the time, and actually he worked out how to deal with narrative. The first 2 films he was still a bit weak in that, but the visuals always kept him going, and it showed off how good a director he was. So we've looked at 3 films that are all very interesting, very much of the mind, how mind's affected. So now let's look at the Hobbit Battle of the Fire Armies, which has no psychology whatsoever. I'm bringing this one up because it's the opposite of like good cinema going experiences. It's the opposite of being curious about people. This film has no curiosity whatsoever. It just has lots of battle scenes and more battle scenes, then more battle scenes. It's an hour and a half, I think, of battle scenes, and they're all CGI, and you're bored to death after about 20 minutes. It's imagine the Matrix Revolutions, the scene where they attack Zion, but 4 times as long, and with way more special effects, and even less focus on who's getting attacked. It's boring. So I kind of see The Hobbit now as basically a 9-hour remake of The Phantom Menace, because basically the first Hobbit movie is only the first third of The Phantom Menace where stuff is getting set up but it's not been set up properly. The middle section's a bit better as they focus on what's going on, and there's some good scenes in there, and the final bit's just a big action scene that you have no investment in. And this film is the big action scene with no investment. They set it up in the first hour, which is the best part of the film. They're setting up the stakes, like this side wants this side wants that. But even then, what they want isn't that interesting. It's just like, yeah, they want it, who cares? Nothing's really set up. The humans win it for like 5 minutes and they bugger off, and her background plays the rest of the movie. The lead character of The Hobbit is in, I would say, about 50 minutes of the 3-hour film. Because he's in it, then he disappears, and he's in it and disappears. He's in it for most of the first section. And he's the best part of that because he's going between the sides trying to create peace. But the characters aren't that interesting he's dealing with, so there's nothing really that he's doing that will get you fascinated by what's going on. It's just like, these are the scenes. Going left, right. There's nothing's going on. I mean, there's just nothing there. And then the battle scenes start, and there's some good gags in the battle scene. The best stuff is when Peter Jackson, the mad director, takes over. Has lots of gory gags with orcs being decapitated, like little animals attacking big orcs and stuff like that. Lots of weird stuff. Anytime it gets weird, it's interesting. Anytime there's human characters or any plot-based stuff, it's boring because it's not been set up. You're just bored because this was a 3-page chapter, I think, or maybe a 5-page chapter of a book. It's into 3 hours, and you can tell because it should only have been like half an hour of a movie, or 45 minutes at the most, because most of the battle beats, they're not that interested. They're just not interested. They don't back up what's going on. They just have things going on, and it's like, and a lot of characters set in the first section disappear during battle. Like, humans are set up as being really important, but they're always in the background. Even in those dialogue scenes, they're always set up as really important though, and then they disappear after the first 15 minutes of the battle because they've got stuff with orcs and stuff with dwarfs, and it's like, well, the people you're meant to actually care for have disappeared, and these dwarfs still haven't become characters you care about after 3 movies. And the big battle at the end is a bunch of bang, 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 fun gags, but you don't care. You really don't care what's going on. It's just scenes going on. So it's easily Peter Jackson's worst film. This and the first Hobbit movie, Unexpected Journey, these are his 2 worst films. Because you wonder what's he doing, because there's so many scenes that just go on forever. And it's like, you never worked out, what's the point of these sequences? Why do we need them? So we're just going to film them anyway, and scenes just drift on and go on and on and on and on and on. And there's always that last sentence because just nothing works. It just is lots of special effects. It's probably the prime example of why you shouldn't give a director unlimited budget, because there's so much crap going on there that nobody cares about. I mean, I think it was the worst reviewed Hobbit movie, and you can see why, because it just, there's nothing going on there. It literally is like about a half hour, 45-minute movie expanded to 3 hours. And it's boring. So I bring that up because after all the interesting psychology of the early movies, especially some that have to be ignored, which adds into what was going on with people, what was going on with societies. You see this, it's just all the special effects. And you can see the lack of a director being interested. And that's really important because the movies I've talked about earlier, which was How to Be a God, Existenz, and Fear and Desire, the directors were fascinated by the subject matters. And it came across in a lot of details. So even if there's narrative elements that maybe were obscure or harder to get a handle on, you felt the passion come through and actually helping the films. In this film, it's just nothing. It's like, why do they make these films apart from the money? You just don't feel any passion for what he's doing. And he's went on for 3 hours of nothing. It's like, I saw behind the scenes documentary about this and basically how he's forced to do these movies when Guillermo del Toro walked away. But it's like, you know, going on director to do it, obviously he didn't have any feeling for them because you can just see that in all the movies. So I'm going to stop there because I think I'm just ranting on about how dull they are. But it's quite sad to watch a director which I like fall so badly and stumble so badly. I mean, I think these Hobbit movies are far worse than the Star Wars prequels, far worse than the Matrix sequels. You know, I think they're pretty much the example of an idea of what happens when a director is given lots of money to follow up on success because we had no idea what he wanted to do, because this is bad. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. I'll be back next week with some more movies, and I'll also be doing some more Star Wars movies pretty soon as well. So, hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you next week. Bye.